Welcome to Module 1. In this module, we're going to discuss the graphical objects for the vIMTF indicator step by step. The first graphical object we're going to discuss is the most important one for high probability trades. They're these shades. These shades represent momentum of price action. Normally, the background of the chart is white. If you get a green background, it tells you have a bullish momentum. It's got a high probability to go up. If you have a red background, it means it's bearish and it's got a high probability to go down. So when you take a trade, you always want to look for a shade here. If you don't have a shade, it automatically is classified as low probability unless you're going into a counter trend trade. Please note the following. If you add the vIMTF indicator, you need to turn off the shades in the IMTF indicator. So all you have to do is go into the IMTF indicator and uncheck on the shades. If you don't do that, what's going to happen, you're going to start seeing a big mess on your chart with a lot of shades overlapping and so forth. The second graphical object we will discuss are the color of the bars. In vIMTF, we color the bars to make it very easy to recognize an opportunity and to eliminate the mess that goes on in chart reading. So let's go through the different colors. The very first bar color we're going to go through is this black bar here. This represents a timing element. In fact, the major TNT strategy is structured around this black bar too. Why is it very important? Well, it offers two things. The very first thing it offers is the high of that TNT bar represents a major resistance, and the low of that TNT bar represents a major support. The second thing it does is it tells you there's a high probability that something's going to happen on the next bar. So what you could do is you could look for this TNT, and on the next bar, if it breaks the high, which is a major resistance, it could start a bullish trend. If it breaks the low, which is a major support, it could start a bearish trend. So you're going to be looking to place orders right after this TNT bar, either bullish or bearish, depending on if it breaks the high or low of that TNT. That's why it's very powerful, because it's a timing element. If price does not break the TNT high or low on the next bar, it then will range or consolidate between the support resistance of the TNT. Once it breaks out of that consolidation range, you then can have a buying or selling opportunity. And the way we specify that is the yellow bar. The yellow bar tells us when we break out the TNT range, and then it will allow us to look for an opportunity after that. The orange bar here is called a reversal bar. This is used to tell you that price can reverse on the next bar. So if you're in an existing trade, you could tighten up your stop and start protecting your profits. If you're not in a trade, you could look at this bar to go maybe counter trend and trade the profit taking or the trend reversal. The purple bar represents a setup, so there's an opportunity to buy or sell on the next bar. If the entry triggers, this is a new trend opportunity, not a counter trend, not a trend continuation, but a new trend opportunity which has a good reward risk ratio. The last of the color bars are basically green or red. Green represents bullish, red represents bearish. And you have different shadings here to represent if they're strong or weak. These bars will only printed if it's a real bar. If it's a fake bar, you'll get no color bar at all. But if it's a real bar, you'll get it either green, this dark green or light green for bullish, or dark red or light red for bearish. The third type of graphical object we're going to discuss are these arrows. You have a green arrow for bullish opportunity on the next bar, red arrow for a bearish opportunity on the next bar. Now, when you get these arrows, that means there was a shakeout. That's why we call a shakeout arrow. That means there was a lot of volatility here where a lot of the bears got shaken out, and now it's an opportunity to buy if you get a push on the next bar. So this is an opportunity to buy when you get a green arrow. When you have a red arrow, it's an opportunity to sell because they shook everyone out on the top side of the bar, and now it has a high probability to go down on the next bar. The last set of graphical objects we're going to discuss are more towards trade management. You have a blue dot here that represents the entry, whether it be bullish or bearish. You have a red dot here that represents the conditional stop that's tied to the entry. And then you have a blue cross here that represents the target. So you know exactly where you're going to enter, where your stops are, and your goal, which is your target. All three pieces of critical information for placing orders. The next graphical object is this black dot. We call it V-close, which represents the volatility of the bar. A lot of people use the bar closing prices. We're not going to do that because it provides a lot of distortions. So we're going to use the V-close instead of the bar close for a lot of different things, which you'll see a little later on. The last graphical object we're going to discuss is the volatility controlling line, which is colored in blue. This is exactly like the green line and red line in the vIMTF world. So this only starts when you pass the two-bar validation. Once you pass the two-bar validation, now the blue line will start and you will stay in this trade exactly like the red and green line in the vIMTF world until this blue line disappears. This is not a trailing stop at all, so you're not going to use that as your stops, and we'll discuss that in later modules when we discuss the strategy. But basically, you will stay in this trade until this blue line disappears. Once it does, it'll tell you to exit the trade. This concludes Module 1, where we went through all the graphical objects. If you have any questions, please post them in the Discord vIMTF chat room. Once they're posted, we'll respond to them in a timely manner. Thank you.